This video is for lesson 6.4. We've already talked about this content in class, but just wanted to create a video for those of you that might need an extra resource for a little bit more support. So a reminder in 6.4, it's about solving logarithmic equations. And there are two different types. There's types where you can see on screen where we have logarithms on both sides of the equation. And there's also types where there's logs maybe only on one side of the equation. So a reminder about the log equals log equations. We want to first use the log properties to condense or simplify logarithms if needed. So reminders of those properties: when we add logarithms, that really means we're multiplying. When we subtract two logarithms, that really means we're dividing. And when we have numbers in front, they really become powers in. Okay, so let's try a couple of examples. Simplify using the properties of logarithms. Use the one-to-one property to drop the logs. So that really says that we're going to be able to set what's in the logarithms equal to one another. So if we have some log base 5 of 5x plus 9 and it equals to log base 5 of 6x, we can essentially drop the logarithms and say 5x plus 9 is equal to that 6x. Subtract the 5x on both sides. We can see that x is going to equal 9. So the only thing in class that we didn't talk about is the possibility of having extraneous solutions. So just a reminder that those are going to be solutions that, in essence, appear to be correct throughout our work in finding x, but actually do not work in the scope of the log expression. So the biggest thing to watch out for that one is that logs can't be negative. We cannot take we cannot take a log of a negative number. And that's something that, rather than discussing via this video, right, I would encourage you to seek out me and have a discussion with me. So the app I'm using to show this video, or to record this video, is not going to allow me to show what my calculation looks like on the graphing calculator. But ideally you would want to plug your solution back in and be sure that it's going to work. So if we go back to the original problem and plug in a 9 for x, we can check our work. Does log base 5 times 9 is 45 plus 9 would be 54. 6 times 9 is 54. And so I'm realizing they both are 54, so my statements make sense. But what I'm also checking is that I can actually figure out what power of 5 is going to get me to 54. It is possible to evaluate that logarithm, so I know that this solution works. Okay, let's try another example. Log base 9 of 6 minus 3w equals log base 9 of negative 2w. One log on either side, so we can drop them right away. Continue solving. We'd add 3w to both sides and see that w could be 6. So now if I check my work, plug in your 6. Again, if I could, I would just show you this on the graphing calculator. 6 minus 18 is negative 12. And negative 2 times 6 is negative 12. So as it stands right now, this solution appears to work. But if I stop and think about what this actually means, what is log base 9 of negative 12? Remember, that is asking us to figure out what power of 9 is going to get us to negative 12. We're going to quickly see that this doesn't make sense. 9 squared we know is 81. Make that a little lower here. Okay, 9 squared is 81. 9 to the first is 9. 9 to the 0 is 1. 9 to the negative first is 1 over 9. 9 to the negative second is 1 over 9 squared, or 1 over 81. And if we just keep going backwards with that, we're going to notice we're going to keep getting a smaller and smaller value, but it's never going to be equal to 0, and therefore never even close to being less than 0, like a negative number. This problem is completely not possible to solve or evaluate. It doesn't make sense. So that means there's actually no solution to this equation. W equals 6 is called an extraneous solution. Okay, so in another example, if you need it, just how might we see some of the difficulty level ramp up in these? This next one, number 3, I notice there's multiple logarithms on the right-hand side, so I'm going to use my properties of logs to simplify first. That 2 comes in as a power, so that's really going to be 6 squared, or log base 3 of 36. I want to get these 2 logs together before I drop them. Subtracting 2 logarithms really means you're going to divide what's in the log, so 36 divided by 4 is 9. Now I can drop the logs and say 2p minus 7 is equal to 9 and finish solving. Check my solution to be sure that this works. Again, I wish I could show you on the graphing calculator. I'm doing that off to the side on my own. So I'm plugging an 8 in. I am using the log base option, so I can type in a base 3 in my TI-84 plus CE, that color version calculator. So the left-hand side, if I plug in an 8, I get 2. And if I figure out what 2 times log base 3 of 6 minus log base 3 of 4 is, it's also 2. So this solution works. Okay, so we in class already talked about what if there is not logarithms on both sides? What if it's a log equals number example? We first want to condense and isolate the logarithmic expression. Write it as then an exponential. Solve and check for any extraneous solutions as well. So on example number 4, I want to isolate the logarithm first, so that means I can add this 7 to the right-hand side. We would get positive 4. So there's no logarithms to drop in this case because there's only 1 on the left-hand side. So our only choice is to convert this into an exponent. So this would say 3 to the power of 4 is equal to 4x plus 8. We know 3 to the 4th is 81. And so now I can continue solving for x. 81 minus 8 is 73. Divide both sides by 4. If you want to, you can leave it as 73/4. If you want to write it as a mixed number, you can. 73/4 can't be simplified as a fraction, so our only other option, we could write it as a decimal. So if you want to report 18.25, that's also fine. Okay, don't forget to check your work. Remember, logarithms can't be negative, so as long as when I plug this 73/4 back in for x, as long as this value, what's in the logarithm, stays positive, I know I'm okay. So I'm just going to even check that part. What if I say 4 times my answer for x plus 8? Well, that's going to be 73 plus 8, which is 81. And because that's a positive number, I know that this solution is going to work. One final example. Before I try to write as an exponent, because I recognize there's no logarithm over here, I want to condense my logs. So addition of logarithms really means to multiply. So log base 6 of x plus 9 times x. So now we got to simplify that. X plus 9 times x is really x times x, or x squared, plus 9 times x. We have one log expression on the left, so we're ready to write as an exponent. 6 to the power of 2 is going to equal x squared plus 9x, or 36 is going to equal x squared plus 9x. We recognize that this expression, or this equation, has both x to the power of 2 and x to the first. Because those are different, unlike variables, the only way to, I shouldn't say the only way, but one way to analytically solve this is to trifactor it. So I'm going to subtract the 36 to the right-hand side, and then use that AC method of factoring, and see if it's possible to factor it. So remember, the AC method requires me to take the A, which is 1, and the last value, which is C, negative 36, and multiply them. So 1 times negative 36 is negative 36. So now I'm going to try find a pair of numbers that multiplies to negative 36 and adds or subtracts to the middle value, which is 9. I make these tables, if you remember back in Unit 3. Some people just have a hard time coming up with this, so it's kind of nice to make a list. I could do 1 times 36 to get 36. We could do 2 times 18. We could do 3 times 12. We could do 4 times 9. 5 doesn't go in. 6 times 6. 7 doesn't go in. 8 doesn't go in. And I actually know I'm already done because I hit a repetition there. There should be no other values, whole number values, that is. So what I'm not accounting for is signs, right? We want a negative 36, so in each of these pairs, one of the numbers would have to be negative. So I'm searching for the pair that's going to have a sum or a difference of 9. So I know it can't be 1 and 36. It can't be 2 and 18, because that's either 20 or 16. But it could be 3 and 12. Can't be 4 and 9, can't be 6 and 6. So it's got to be 3 and 12. That's the only option. Okay, so that means we're going to rewrite the middle term. To get a positive 9 out of this, I need to make the 3 negative. So that means I can do minus 3x plus 12x. These two together still add up or simplify to 9x. So remember, that AC method is about splitting up that middle term into 2 so that we have overall a 4-termed expression that we can factor by grouping. So that's our next step. X squared and negative 3x have an x in common, so we can factor that out to get x minus 3. 12x and negative 36 have a positive 12 in common. So if we factor that out, we get an x plus 3. We created these two terms that both have something in common. They both have that x minus 3. So if I get rid of those, if I factor out the x minus 3, we're going to have x plus 12 left over. And so now we can set those, we're almost done. We can set those factors both equal to 0 using the zero product property and find that x could be 3 and or x could be negative 12. Okay, so a lot of work to do this, right? The new stuff is condensing the logs into 1, writing it as an exponent, and then using factoring to help solve the quadratic equation. So quite a bit of tough stuff within this one. What I still need to finish doing is checking my solution. If I take the 3 and plug it back in, I'm going to get 3 plus 9 and 3. Both of those numbers are positive, and so I know this solution is going to work. Okay, if I try the negative 12, I'm going to get negative 12 plus 9, and I'm going to have negative 12. Those do not work because they stay as negative numbers. So negative 12 is not one of my solutions to this log equation. So that's it for some extra examples if you needed them. Hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching.